Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Sarah. Today we've got a 20-minute early morning glow up Pilates session. This is designed to wake you up nice and gently, get the blood flowing and make you feel energized and ready for the day ahead. You're not going to need any equipment, just yourself and a mat. And we're going to be starting in an all fours position. So whenever you're ready, let's start. Okay, if we just get ourselves into an all fours position with the hands underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. Elbows soft, shoulders back and down. Let's make sure we're lengthened through the spine. Let's breathe in. On the exhale, tuck your tailbone under, press the floor away from you and nod your chin. And then lift the tailbone, let the ribcage gently sink down and lift the chin. So we're going into this lovely flexed cat position, transitioning gracefully into our cow. Keeping the arms lengthened but the elbows soft throughout, making sure the hips stay above the knees and the shoulders stay above the hands. We ripple through the spine, vertebra by vertebra, in both directions, just releasing the facet joints, getting some mobility around the spine. Just hold it on that last one there, in that flexed position, and start to sway forwards and backwards. So we're getting that extra stretch around the upper back and the lower back. Let's switch directions, come back to neutral. Lift the tailbone, let the ribcage sink down and lift the chin. So we're going to sway forwards or backwards and forwards here, slowly and controlled. Good. Again, just feeling those extra stretches and getting into the hips and the shoulder joints just that little bit more, warming everything up. Let's come back to neutral then. Okay, let's take the left arm. We're going to reach that up vertically. Breathe in here. Exhale. Engage the core, sweep the arm around and thread the needle. So we're taking the left arm and threading it underneath that right shoulder. Now try and keep your hips above your knees here as you lower that shoulder down. We're trying to keep the spine as lengthened as can be. So there's a bit of rotation of the spine, but we're stretching out the chest. You might feel this around the mid to lower back as well. You need to really bend that right elbow to enable you to take the left shoulder towards the floor. So there's a bit of scapular strengthening there and getting into the back of the arm as well. Good, a stretchy and strengthening exercise. Thread the needle. Good. Okay, we're going to replace the hand and do the same on the other side. So breathing in to reach the right arm up. Exhale to engage the core. Gently sweep the arm around and thread it underneath the left shoulder now. So you can see we're bending the left elbow as we take the right shoulder close to the floor, but try and keep the spine lengthened through as you do this so we're not flexing on that thread. And again, keeping the hips above the knees. So we're feeling all these stretches and the strengthening movements where we need to. Lots of scapular strengthening, but again, mobilizing the spine. Let's go slowly and controlled, remembering to bend that left elbow. Lovely. This will be your last one. And then you can just pop your hand down. Breathe in here. Exhale to go back into lovely flexed cat position. And then sit back in shell. Reaching the arms forward. Let's turn the palms up for the extra stretch around the shoulders. Good. Okay. From here then, we're coming back into all fours. And we're going to set ourselves up to do some half press ups. So just take a walk forward with each hand. Tuck your tailbone under and cross your ankles. You're just going to lower the pelvis slightly. Lift your feet so you've got your shoulders, hips and knees all in a nice line. And we bend the elbows to take the breastbone towards the floor. Working the shoulders and the back of the arms. So breathing in to come down. Breathing out as you push the floor away from you. Working that scapular region and the triceps. And try not to lock the elbows out when you push the floor away from you. Well done. Let's sit back in our shell stretch. Give the shoulders a rest. Breathe. Take some nice breaths in and out. Get the oxygen flowing around the body. And we're going to do that again, but this time sideways. So if you keep your hands where they are, but bring your left hip down if you're mirroring me. Okay, bend the knees, heels in line with the tailbone. You want to make sure your chest is square with your mat. Same movements again, bending the elbows to lower the breastbone down. Pushing the floor away from you to come back up. So again, the spine stays lengthened through. But you might get that extra stretch now around the lower back towards the hip on that left side. Good. Now we're going to sit back in shell here. So lift your hips and sit back towards the end of your mat. So you get a stretch around the right hand side of your body towards the hip. Lovely. Let's come back up. Bring the knees forward. Now you're going to take the right hip down now. Okay, so you'll have your back to me. But remember, square up your chest, make sure it's facing the floor. So you're bending both elbows as you come down into your side push-up. So knees bent, heels in line with the tailbone. Remember to breathe as well. So again, you can breathe in as you go down and out to push up. Or you can breathe out in both directions, just taking a brief pause in between. Remember that side shell stretch. Good, sitting back towards the top of the mat, stretching out the left side of the body. Okay, relax that down. Come back to all fours and just sit yourself back into a normal shell stretch now. So you're in line with your mat. You can turn the palms up, give the wrists a little bit of a shake or make grabbing movements. And then we're going to come back into all fours once again. So hands under shoulders, knees underneath the hips. We're going to tuck the toes under and gently lift the knees so the shins are hovering off the floor. Keep your spine lengthened. We're going to do hip dips. So go slowly. You're going to drop each hip towards the floor, close as you can, keeping your spine lengthened through. Good. Keep soft elbows and remember to breathe. So we exhale to take the hips down. Inhale to come through center. Bit of balance here as well. Lots of control. Again, working the shoulders, the back of the arms, but it definitely works the obliques as well. So a bit of core work there too. Lovely. And then you can relax that there. Gently bring your knees down, release your toes. Again, sit back in that well-deserved shell stretch. Brilliant. Let's get some more deep breaths in and out, get that oxygen flowing. Okay, and then we're going to be coming down onto one side now. So again, if you're mirroring me, it'll be your left side. Knees bent, heels in line with the tailbone. And we're going to come down onto our left elbow. So make sure the elbow is directly underneath your shoulder. Send the top hip away from you and make sure you're staying nice and strong around that left shoulder. Now we're going to start with the clam here. So very gently lifting and lowering that right knee. You're going to keep your toes in contact with each other here. Exhale up, inhale down, nice and slowly and controlled. Good. Now we're going to hold this and then we're going to start to lengthen out the leg. So extend the leg, bring the toes together. Good. Keep the knees apart. Good. Exhale to extend, inhale to bend that knee. Lovely. Keep the body still and lengthen through. Work that hip. Okay, then we're going to keep the toes together, but bring the knees together, then the toes together. So when the knees are together, the toes are apart and vice versa. So we have internal and external rotation of the hip. You should be feeling a bit heavy around that right hip now. Remember not to fall into that left shoulder. Push the floor away from you. Keep your core engaged and remember to breathe. All right, from here then, let's lengthen out that right leg so it's level with the floor. Good. We're going to make circles. So keeping your pelvis still, let's go forward with the circles, meaning clockwise. So this is all about pelvic stability. Try not to let your body wobble all over. Keep everything still. Use your core. We're going to go the other way. This is quite challenging now. So anti-clockwise. This movement is coming from the hip joint. Remember to breathe. Good. Well done. You can relax that there. Make sure that top hip is away from you. Send the top arm up. I'm going to do hip dips. So remember, there's some strength involved with this, but technique as well. So to lift the hips, press the floor away from you with your forearm and lift the rib cage sideways up. Good. Exhale up. Inhale down. Good. Obliques again. So working the muscle on the outside of the body. Just stretch it through at the end. Hold that for a few moments. And then you can gently bring yourself down. Good. Give that shoulder a roll as well. You've definitely worked that. We're going to bring the legs around the front of the mat to the other end of the mat. And we're going to do it all again on this side. So remember, we're coming down onto the elbow. So this will be your right elbow. We send the left hip away from us. So lengthening out the spine. And we start with the clam. So very gently lifting the knee and lowering the knee. So the toes are staying together, pelvis stays still, it's facing forward, staying strong around that scapular region. And of course, we remember to breathe. Good. Exhale, inhale. Let's hold that knee. Now we're raising the leg or extending the knee, pointing the toes, just extending the leg out diagonally in front of us. This is really going to get that top hip. You're going to feel it around the hip flexors. Try not to fall in towards the floor with your body and stay strong on the shoulder. Okay, let's change it now to the internal and external rotation of the hip by bringing the knees together, then the toes. Knees, toes. Good. Really good for building suppleness around the hip as well. Fabulous. Okay, let's relax it, but we're going to extend the leg out in line with the body, lift it up so it's parallel with the floor, and then we're going to make those circles again. So big as you can, but try not to wobble the pelvis. If you find your pelvis is wobbling, just make the circles smaller, but use your core to get that pelvic stability. We're going the other way now. As I say, we're aiming for about 6 in each direction, making sure we keep the leg extended and the movement is coming from the hip joint. Perfect. Bring it all down now. Okay, we're going for our hip dips. So, top arm up, breathing in. Exhale, press into the floor with the forearm. Lift the rib cage up sideways. Feel that squeeze around the obliques, so the muscle on the outside of the body closest to the floor. Now we're going to hold this up in just a second, right here. And then we're going to side bend over, stretch out that left side. Good, you can gently come down onto the hip, into seated. Take the legs out in front of you. Sit up tall, and then just widen out the legs now. Go as wide as you can. Shuffle your glutes behind you, it allows you to sit up a bit taller. And then if you just place your hands behind your head, elbows in the peripheral vision, you're just interlacing the fingers, and then you're going to breathe in. And on your exhale, we're just going to tip sideways, taking the elbow to the knee. So same side, elbow and knee, keeping the pelvis still. And you're stretching out the outside of the body. So lots of strengthening and lengthening of those obliques here. Those are core muscles. Good, slowly and controlled. Well done. Always coming back to that lovely neutral position between each rep. Exhaling on the bend. Inhale to come back to center. Let's relax it, widen out the arms, palms facing forward, flexing the ankles. We're going to turn this into the spine twist. So turn into one side and then the other side. Okay, but when you turn to one side, make sure you pulse twice and you breathe out for 2 counts. The arm that goes behind you, turn the thumb down. So you've got a little bit of circumduction of the shoulder joints. It just works them a little bit harder. Try not to hunch the shoulders up by the ears. It definitely will make you feel a bit tired around those shoulders. It also gets the hip flexors as well. Good. Reach up, breathe in. Exhale, round the upper back. Good. When you touch the floor, you can then slide the fingers forward, hinging at the hips. Keep the ankles flexed here. Stretch out the back of the legs and the inner thighs. Slowly come back up to tall seated. Reach up with the arms, breathing in again. Exhale, tummy button in and up, around the upper back. And slide the fingers away from you, slowly and controlled. That's it, back to seated tall. We'll do one more. Breathing in nice and tall with those arms. Keep the pelvis still as you round your upper back. And then you can slide your fingers away from you as you hinge at the hips. Enjoy that stretch. Gently slide back to tall seated. Good. Bring the knees and feet together now. And we're going to roll back into supine. So if you just have your arms out in front of you, breathe in. Exhale. We're going to slowly come back. So the lower back, mid back, then upper back. Touch the floor in that order. You can go straight into a full body stretch. Flex your ankles there for a nice stretch down the back of the legs as well. And then if you pop your feet onto the floor, bring your arms down by your sides And we're gonna go up into the shoulder bridge. So breathing in, exhale, tuck your tailbone under, roll up through the spine towards the shoulders. Gently come down on that in-breath and tip the pelvis forward at the end. So exhale up, inhale down. And there's that sequential control of the spine once more. Keep the feet in full contact with the floor. Knees should be facing forward as well. Lovely. Okay, we're going to stay up in the bridge here and raise the left leg up, flex the ankle. Keep the leg vertical as you roll down from your bridge. Same with the right leg. Good, so always going up into the bridge with both feet down. Only when you're up in your bridge, you remove one leg and bring it up vertical to the ceiling. We flex the ankle, so when we roll down, we get that lovely stretch down the back of the leg and into the hamstrings and the calves. Good, really waking up the back of the legs, but getting into the glutes as well. Lovely. Exhale on the way up into your bridge. You can inhale on the way down as normal. Okay, that's your last one. We're going to stay in supine, but take hold of the right knee with both hands and lengthen out the left leg. So point the toes, lift the head and shoulders. You're looking just towards that right knee. And then we're going to turn this into single leg stretch. So you let go of your knee, send the leg vertical, then lower the leg down towards the floor. Draw the lower abdominal muscles towards the spine and try and keep your head and shoulders nice and still. Breathing out as you lower the leg and in as you take hold of the knee. Good, lovely stretch for the back of the legs. Lots of mobility for the hips and the knees. And of course it works the neck muscles as well with the head and shoulders lifted. Okay, good. Hands behind the head, elbows in the peripheral vision. Let's bring the legs into tabletop. Okay, lock your angle at 90 degrees at the knee and just send your toes down. So left, right, left. Keeping the lower back pressed towards the floor. This movement is coming from the hip joint, so try not to just drop your heels to your bottom. And now we're going to take the opposite elbow to the opposite knee, bringing in the obliques. So working your abdominals, working the outside of the body as well. Really good exercise for working the core, and of course your hip flexors are involved too. Good, keep your head and shoulders lifted. You're then going to bring your knees apart, toes together. Now we're going to tap the toes down at the same time. So the knees are wide here. You might not be able to see that from the video, but you've got your legs in kind of a frog's leg position. Make sure you're pressing the lower back down towards the floor, and we're keeping the head and shoulders lifted here, really working the abs, and again getting into those hip flexors. Exhale to tap the toes down, inhale to come back. Well done. All right. And then we're going to hold that there. Bring the knees together. Keep the legs in tabletop, but bring the arms round by your side, palms facing down. Breathe in. Exhale to extend the arms and the legs away from each other. Okay, and then you sweep the arms around by your sides. Big semicircles back to that start position. Keep your head and shoulders absolutely still. Nice gap between the chin and the chest of about a crab apple size will do. And we're taking the legs diagonally out. Arms by your ears if you can get them there. This is double leg stretch. Well done. Really working those core muscles, and again neck flexors. Pop the hands underneath your bottom, raise the legs up vertically, point the toes. You can now relax your head down. Let's widen out the legs, then flex the ankles and bring the legs together and repeat. So pointing the toes to take the legs out wide, flexing the ankles to bring the legs back together, trying to keep the legs as vertical as can be. So now again, really working the hip flexors, working the abs. Remember to breathe, so exhale out. Inhale to bring those legs in. You're working your inner thighs as well. Keeping the hands underneath your bottom to keep your pelvis secure. Good, keep the hands where they are. Let's draw big circles with those legs now. So opposite directions. Pressing the lower back down towards the floor as you lower the legs down towards the floor, nice and low. Try not to bend the knees. Hip twists. This is quite a challenging exercise to do for, again, the core muscles. Works the front of the thighs as well, so you get into your quadriceps. Exhale, round and down, inhale back. Well done. You can give your knees a squeeze, relax that. Take some nice deep breaths in and out, and we'll have a nice little happy baby pose as well. So taking hold of the outside of the feet, Arms between the knees, just relax, keep your head down there. Okay, and then we're going to come up to seated using the roll up. So lengthen out the arms and legs. Breathe in to reach up. Exhale, engage your core, nod your chin, and come into an upright seated position. Fantastic. Okay, we're going to come into an all fours position again. So hands back underneath the shoulders, knees under the hips. Let's lengthen through the spine. And then you're going to gently come down onto the floor into prone. Now, if you come onto your elbows, just widen out your feet towards the corners of your mat. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, or a bit closer to your shoulders here. You want your elbows tucked into your body. And of course, draw your navel towards your spine. We're going to breathe in as we gently press into the floor. Extend the arms to come up into spinal extension. Okay, so breathing in on the way up, breathing out to come down, keeping the core engaged throughout. Any pinching or pain in the lower back, of course, we don't do it. It's really nice for building flexibility of the spine, but of course working the back of the arms. Just keep the shoulders back and down and away from the ears, and go slowly and controlled. Fabulous. Okay, this is the last one here, and we're going to hold this last one. So when you push into the floor, again, keep the tummy button towards the spine, lift the breastbone, and then we're slowly coming down. Now keeping the knees nice and wide, just bend each knee and bring the feet towards your glutes, and you're going to take hold of each foot around about where your shoelaces are or would be. Keeping the chest lifted, use your core, gently lift your feet to lift the knees. And this is a really nice stretch for the chest, into the front of the shoulders. Keep the core engaged. Of course, the spine is in extension there. It's a lovely stretch, and it stretches out the front of the thighs and the hip flexors too. Relax it down. Press very gently into the floor to slowly come up into fours and sit back in your shell stretch. Give your hips a little bit of a sway from side to side as well. And then you can bring yourselves into a nice all fours position, ready to do a cat and cow. So when you're ready, tuck your tailbone under, press the floor away from you, nod your chin, hold it there, and then lift the tailbone, let the rib cage gently sink down and lift the chin. We're going to go one more in each direction. Let's stretch those spinal extensors, stretch those abdominal muscles. Lovely. And then you can sit back into shell, taking the tailbone towards your heels, and gently come back to kneeling at the end of the session. I really hope you're feeling good now and ready for the day ahead. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Have a lovely day.